Hey guys, I'm here today, well, back again. It's been a while. I'm not here with my car today, but we have my dad's 1996 Dodge Dakota. We're going to be sanding down, the hood is right now is the primary goal. We're going to sand it down because you can see how textured it is. It had some rust issues, but we're going to sand it down, make it nice and flat, and then we're going to paint it white to match the rest of it. So that is the goal for today. We're going to start with sanding everything down. Once everything's sanded, then we're going to tape up I'm probably just going to end up, we're going to be spraying this here too, just to cover it up. But I'm going to tape the wiper arms off and then mask the entire window off. We're going to leave the fenders for right now unless we might touch these areas up, sand it down, touch them up. But I mean, doesn't really look that bad. Roof needs touched up here. These are just the main goals. But right now, the primary focus is to get this hood done because this hood is rough. Let's get to sanding. We're just gonna sand it with, we're just gonna go with 180 and then probably 320 just to get all the rough scratches out. Then we're gonna prime it, any spots we broke through so we don't get rust issues. Then mask everything off. And we'll layer some paint on there. Let's get to it. So, starting to sand it down, you can already tell it's a lot smoother than it was. Right here, you want to see how sharp these edges are. You want to kind of feather edge them out, which that means basically you're going to take your sander, you're going to make it so it blends with the rest of the panel. That way you don't see it when you paint it, and that way it just doesn't show up. You won't even tell that was there before. And you got to do that to every place that has any sharp edges at all, or it'll just it'll show back up. Like you can see all these are probably, it looks like somebody brush painted on there. The before primer, it looks like whatever paint was on here was brush painted, but you want to sand all that down so it's nice and flush before you do the paint. Now, while you're prepping this with your sander, you want to make sure you don't want to use too much force on this, on the front, and you don't want to go side to side like this. You want to keep it nice and flat, apply even pressure, and you want to make like kind of X patterns, because if you just go in one direction for so long, it doesn't cut it down as much or as easily. And then you want to stay away from you want to try and stay away from body lines for too hard. Like a body line like this, you don't want to come flat like this. You're gonna shave it down and you're gonna ruin the body line. You have to it's hard to describe, but you gotta try and contour your whatever tool you're using to sand it, and try and get in that. You don't want to apply too much pressure on the body line because it'll flatten the body line out and it'll ruin the look. And then for curved surfaces like this, you want to kind of take it, and instead of going straight up and down, you kind of want to create this wave pattern, because this body line is not as sharp as this, so it won't cut down or flatten as easy, but you still want to be nice and careful. You don't want to apply too much pressure or it will flatten it. So you can already see how much smoother it is. And this is what I was talking about feather edging. You can see it, how the previous paint got sanded and it started to blend into the panel. So you cannot feel any of this right now, except there's just like a spot right here. But that's because it's a rust pivot. But like we got to do that to all these areas. I got over here, so all this is flat. Got to get in this body line, get all that out, get that side, and then we should be. And we got to get some of this here too. But after that, we should be good to start painting it. Alright, we're almost done sanding everything. Just got this, oh my gosh, lost words. This stretch of panel right here. So we gotta get all the way from the bottom, all the way. I already did the body line right here. Just gotta get this done. We can tape everything off and we can paint it. Let's go. I also forgot to mention how absolutely messy sanding is. So, and yeah, I'm just using 3M 180 sandpaper. It's the Velcro stuff. Shout out to them. Not sponsored, unless they want to sponsor me. But pretty, it's not too expensive, but it's not incredibly cheap. So just blew everything off. We got this completely flat, nice and smooth. So now I'm gonna go ahead and mask all this off so we can get it ready for paint. Now, normally I would use a tucking tool to tuck the tape into the crevices, but I don't have a tucking tool with me, so I'm just going to use a body filler applicator, nice and flat. You don't want to use anything metal, because it can rip the paint and it can rip the tape and scratch the paint. Alright guys, we got it all messed up. I'm not going too over the top with the masking paper because we're just using spray paint. I'm not using an actual sprayer. We're not doing a professional paint job, but we are going for the best we possibly can go for. So I'm gonna be doing my best to paint this thing. I'm gonna wipe it down real quick, get all the excess, get all the excess dust off. And then I'm gonna start from the middle, do the middle, down, well, middle, down, and then over. That way, I make sure I missed no areas, and we're gonna go over it. We're gonna do 2 coats to make sure it's nice and even. We're gonna go, first coat, we're gonna go up and down. Second coat, we're gonna go side to side. That way it leaves no openings for the primer underneath to show through. And that way we get the best finish we can possibly get. Alright, we got the hood all primered up. We gotta let this dry. Ooh, excuse me. Gotta let this dry before we do anything else. Once this dries, then we're gonna lay some of the base coat paint. I think it might just be single stage spray paint, but then we can put that paint on, and then we unmask everything, and we're done. Yippee! Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and paint this thing now. Fans making weird noises. We're gonna go ahead and paint this thing now that's dry. When you are painting, make sure the room you're painting in is well ventilated and you have a fan running. And make sure you're wearing a respirator. Do not do what I'm doing because it's stupid. But make sure you have a well ventilated room, have a fan blowing, because you do not want to inhale the fumes. It will make you very sick very quickly. But I have 2 fans running and a door open, so I'm in a giant bay. So I'm not gonna use the respirator. I know I should, but I'm not going to. But don't do what I do. Be smart. So we're gonna go ahead and paint this thing now and show you guys how it's done. This is the paint I'll be using. We got it from Zimmerman Auto Body. You basically take this red piece off, take it, and you smack it down at the bottom, and it mixes the hardener with the actual paint. They basically made like a quart to paint match this, and then just turn it into spray can. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And I'll show you guys the process. Shout out to Zimmerman Auto Body. Alright guys, first and second coat are done. This is the finished product. It's not perfect because it is just spray paint, but it's a lot better than it was. So I'm gonna unmask everything now, and I'll show you guys when it's finished. Alright guys, here's what it looks like after the paint. It looks incredible in my opinion. Much better than it was before. Much better. Fucking unplug this fan. Much better than it was before. So this was part 1 of painting it. I'm slowly going to piece it together with the spray paint because I got a bunch of cans. But we'll slowly piece this together and eventually it'll be fully finished. Catch you guys then.